It's expected to be another solid field of receivers in this year's draft. Will they live up to the results from their predecessors from 2014? Let's see who our experts compare them to. It's doppelgangers. Wide receivers here at Campus Insiders. Ray Crawford here with Russ Lande and Pete Fiutak. Russ, we'll start with you. Who does Amari Cooper remind you of?
Well, you know, because most of the people watching this probably won't remember a guy like Terry Glenn, we'll bring up Steve Smith, who's been a dynamic receiver in the NFL. And when you watch Cooper play, you see the sharp routes, you see the explosion out of his touch, you see the ability to pluck the ball and make plays after the catch. Very reminiscent of what Steve Smith did both at Utah and with the Carolina Panthers and now with the Baltimore Ravens. I think Cooper has a chance to be an impact guy very quickly in the NFL because he's so polished.
Steve Smith's like 4'2", and Cooper is a 6'1", 220-pound guy.
But when you watch him
They're
play,
bigger. So eat him up a little bit. I'm with you. I would compare Amari Cooper more like Pierre Garçon, and that doesn't sound very exciting because Garçon wasn't a high draft pick and not a big name, but he has carved out a really nice career. He's a great route runner, catches everything that comes his way, very reliable. He's turned out to be a great overall target for both Indianapolis and now Washington. I think that Cooper can be better than that, but right now I'd compare him to that guy.
Kevin White, a one-time JUCO player who finished up his college career at West Virginia. Who does he remind you of, Russ?
You know, he reminds me a ton of Julio Jones, and it's funny because I remember when Julio came out, you saw this kid at Alabama, ran good routes, made big plays, but you questioned his speed, and then he went to the combine and blew it up. And White's the same thing. You watch him at West Virginia, big physical guy, makes dominant plays. Then you see him go to the combine, destroyed it athletically, and it says, you know what? This is another big guy that can change games. I really believe this guy's going to make an immediate impact in the NFL. He's going to need a year or two to become the all-around receiver that maybe a Cooper will be right away. But I think big play-wise, this guy's
you like
going to
those
be
same number
special
guys,
right
number
away.
11 versus the number
That's
11.
right.
That's, you like that.
That's
your
scouting,
doppelganger.
right?
That's
yeah.
your doppelganger.
I don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
Devante Parker overcame injury. Didn't have Teddy Bridgewater
No.
to throw to him either. He had a pretty good year. Who does he remind you of?
Reminds me a little bit of Vincent Jackson. Not quite as tall as Vincent Jackson is, but Jackson's a physical, tough playmaker, great around the red zone. I kind of think that Parker could be that guy who's not going to beat people up necessarily like Jackson will, but he's got the same type of height, same type of body control, and I think he could be a big-time receiver, especially around the goal line. I think he's going to be a top #1 receiver. Jackson turned into that guy. Parker's going to have to be that right away.
We'll see if this group can have the success like Sammy Watkins, Odell Beckham Jr., and Evans from a year ago, last year's draft. They all had solid rookie
right.
years.
That's a tough comparison.
Right. It is. We're doing this with quarterbacks and running backs as well here on Campus Insiders.